This is the 3D VIEW-MASTER Adventure Search, an NBC television series. VIEW-MASTER Reel 1. Picture 1. Probe's ace investigator Lockwood, who had previously received orders to report immediately on the tiny transistorized radio implanted behind his ear, hurried into probe control, nerve center for a vast intelligence gathering network maintained by World Securities Corporation throughout the free world. "What's up this time?" he asked Miss Harding, the good-looking blonde who had, in the past, always monitored his vital life signs while he was on assignment. "Cam's got something he wants you to see on closed circuit," she replied, switching on the big viewing screen. Picture 2. The image was fuzzy at first. The transmission, however, soon became crystal clear, revealing a man and wife, two Orientals, Lockwood noted, sitting in a plush San Francisco Chinatown apartment. "I, Mr. Lockwood, am Chen Kuo, chairman of the board of Eurasian Jade and Metals Company. This is my wife. We are deeply troubled. It is difficult for us to discuss family matters. Our accountants have, you see, reported the misappropriation of a huge sum of money from the family business. It may run into the millions. We are facing complete and total financial ruin." Miss Kuo added sadly, "Our son, Richard, has tried to take his own life, Mr. Lockwood, because he lost all that money in a speculative stock deal. Our one and only hope now is to locate a gold mine which once belonged to my grandfather. Will you help us find it, Mr. Lockwood?" Checking Probe's magic memory banks, Lockwood learned that all claim records, maps, charts, all documents pertaining to the mine were either lost or destroyed in the San Francisco earthquake. Probe 1, that was Lockwood's code name, decided he would visit the Bay City personally. Picture 3. En route to San Francisco International Airport, Probe Control fed Lockwood the following information. Eastman Charles M., released from federal prison on parole May 1971. Likely habitat Lower Market Street. He is thought to be the man who tried to sell false claim record to Mr. Kuo 20 years ago. Check him out. A chauffeured limousine met Lockwood at the airport, as ordered. But as they toured San Francisco's Skid Row, the driver became increasingly dense. Probe Control, monitoring his pulse, respiration and body temperature, reported a fear reaction. Adrenaline surge. Your driver's very nervous. Probe 1. Get out of that car. Picture 4. Lockwood seized the driver and shouted, "What's wrong? Come on, spit it out. What's going on?" "Let me out of here," the chauffeur yelled back at him. "This thing's set to go off any time." In the struggle that followed, Lockwood was hurled back into his seat. But he somehow managed to lean forward and open the door, throwing himself flat on the pavement outside the car. And just in time, the limousine exploded in a burst of flame, destroying the car completely and doing considerable damage to the nearby storefronts. Picture 5. Lying motionless, his body pressed flat against the sidewalk, Probe's number 1 private eyes seemed, to the people in control, at least more dead than alive. "Lockwood, are you hurt? Do you hear me, Lockwood? Come in, please," Cameron pleaded. Then, turning to the others in the big control room, he asked, "Are we transmitting?" "Yes, sir," he was assured. "Green light both ways. Anything wrong on the physical telemetry?" His vital signs jumped clear of the scope for a while, but he's beginning to come down now. "No injuries?" Cameron inquired. "Negative. His brain waves are easing to a bit." Picture 6. Lockwood picked himself up and wandered into an antique shop, its objects the art scattered about by the bomb blast. Probe control, this is probe 1. He hoped Cameron was reading him. I'm in trouble. I can see trafficable cars and people walking, but I can't hear. Miss Harding, his monitor at probe control, reacting to his situation, decided then to ask for a vacation. She had, she insisted, sick leave coming, and her replacement was on his way. She didn't bother to tell Cameron or anyone else in the control room that she planned to join Lockwood in Frisco. Picture 7. Continuing his search for Charles M. Eastman on foot, Lockwood walked into a cheap Claremont street hotel. The desk clerk, a big, tired brunette broad, who had obviously seen better days, was decidedly uncooperative. Nobody registered here by that name, she said, when Lockwood asked her about Eastman. I'm deaf, Lockwood told her. Temporarily, I hope. He's not here, she repeated. Then, raising her voice, she said it again. Eastman's not here. He inherited a lot of money. Lockwood showed her some of it. If you just write down his room number, I would sure appreciate it. You can keep this for your trouble. She took the 10 spot, pushed it down into the top of her dress and wrote 609 on a paper pad. VIEW-MASTER Reel 2, Picture 1. Upstairs, Lockwood knocked at 609's door. There was no response, so he tried the knob, found it unlocked and walked in. Eastman was dead. This is probe 1. Do you read me, control? Eastman is a dead duck. Looks like he was reading poetry. Roger, probe 1. We read you 5 by 5. Cam still couldn't tell whether his agent was receiving him or not. We're picking up another presence in that room. It seems to be right in back of you, Lockwood. His agent, however, was still deaf. Lockwood ducked instinctively when the lights went out, striking out at his assailant with a precision-placed karate chop. The intruder, whoever he was, had, Lockwood reasoned, intended to get Charles Eastman's book of poetry. Picture 2. Later, as he checked into his Nob Hill Hotel, a far cry from Claremont Street, Lockwood met the vacationing Miss Harding. I'm in the room right across the hall from you, she purred. I'll give you about 5 minutes to wash up and then you're going to take me out to dinner. Preferable in some romantic, dimly lit cafe. Write it down, Lockwood demanded. I can't hear you. That evening, over a pair of very dry martinis, Lockwood seemed disturbed. I don't get it, Gloria, he said. Why would anybody want to kill someone for a book? Picture 3. There was a name in Eastman's book of poetry. Lockwood mused aloud. Reuben Herron's book, 9, West Cambridge. Come on, let's do some snooping. He literally dragged his date from the supper club. A few minutes later, they were standing in front of the bookstore. Closed, naturally, since the hour was late. I hate to wake anyone at this time of night, Lockwood confessed as he rang the doorbell. You're all hot, Lockwood, Gloria said mockingly. Your mouth is moving, he smiled, though he was feigning deafness now. His hearing had returned after the blow on his head. We can cure that with a kiss. Picture 4. Meanwhile, in another part of town, the man who had driven Lockwood's Cadillac was meeting with 2 other men. One of them, the mysterious assailant from room 609, the other, a uniformed Asian general. We have Lockwood outnumbered, the general said. 4 of us, counting my brother, Chen Kuo, and we can get more help if we need it from my government. But what have we done so far? You blew the bomb job, the general pointed to the chauffeur, and you failed to get the book. Not a very good beginning, you'll admit. The probe agent must not find the mine. Is that clearly understood? I hope so, because it's a matter of life and death for you and me. Picture 5. Reuben Herrand had, in the meantime, reluctantly opened up his shop. That's a very old and valuable book you have there, he told Lockwood. It's worth a lot of money. I sold it for $30,000. Would you buy it back for that? Lockwood asked. To me it's worthless, the bookstore owner said. That was a deal I made with the original purchaser. What was his name? Lockwood inquired firmly. I don't know. However, I can tell you 2 things about him. 1, he was an Oriental, Chinese, Japanese. They all look alike to me. 2, he was an old man, humble, maybe a servant. That was 15 or 18 years ago. He died. He must have. He was very old, even then. Anything else? Lockwood said, leaning over the desk. It was a very simple deal, Heron insisted. He picked out a book, any book. It just happened to be this one. Then he made me promise that whoever brought a book into the shop, I was to give that person a map. Picture 6. Gloria, suddenly realizing Lockwood could hear, was furious. All right, she demanded. How long have you been able to? I'll tell you later, Lockwood said. Right now I've got to talk to a man about a map. Heron was busy cutting open the book's cover. I hide the map in here, the bookseller said. Thought it would be safe. Lockwood immediately knew the area. Diablo Mountain Range, southeast of San Francisco. I know it like the back of my hand. Picture 7. Congratulations, you've hit pay dirt. Lockwood was picking up Cameron's voice. If that map is authentic, you're on your way. Good work, Probe 1. We'll check that area out by helicopter tomorrow, Cam. Today? Well, I think Miss Harding and I are entitled to a little victory celebration, right, Miss Harding? I'm with you, she agreed. But remind me to write you can't judge a book by its cover in my diary. Back in probe control, Cam was shaking his head. There goes the old budget. Bright lights, nightclubs and shiny limousines. And they're doing it with my credit cards. VIEW-MASTER Reel 3. Picture 1. They were up and away early the following morning. Lockwood, in addition to all his other talents, was also a skilled helicopter pilot. We're over the Sierra Mountains, Cam. Do we have us on screen? Roger, Probe 1. We're tracking you by Comsat antenna and you're coming in loud and clear. Stand by. We are preparing a set of aerial photos of the entire Diablo range. We'll be transmitting them to you shortly. Over. Skip the overall, Cam. Just give me the sector showing the gold mine. I've been over this region before. Picture 2. Lockwood relaxed and suggested that Gloria take the controls for a while, unaware that they were being tracked at that very moment by General Chu's men on the ground below. Hit him in the tail rotor, the general ordered, and it's all over. Lockwood heard a sharp metallic crack. He reacted automatically. Drive shaft, he thought. The engine cawed, sputtered, skipped a beat, then caught on again. Lockwood eased the throttle off a bit. I've got a sick bird, Cam. I'm going to try to nurse her into the ranger station in the valley. We'll go in from there on horseback. Picture 3. With luck and a strong assist from the thermal updrafts normally found on the windward side of any mountain range, Lockwood was able to keep his bird in the air until they reached a clearing near the old ranger station. There they secured the services of an experienced mountain guide and the use of 2 horses. Halfway up the trail to Sierra Diablo, Gloria announced a minor mutiny. "I'm relieving you of your command, Lockwood," she said. "We are not going a step further until we have something to eat. Do you like pork and beans?" As the threesome gathered around the campfire, a rifle shot suddenly slammed into their midst. "Grab the horses, saddle up and keep your heads down," Lockwood yelled. "No time for beans stroganoff now. Let's hit the road." Picture 4. Since it was nearly dark, Lockwood decided that caution is the better part of valor and ordered his party to split up. "It'll be safer," Lockwood said to their guide. "You head back to the ranger station. Get some help up here if you can. Gloria and I will continue on alone. We'll meet you at the mine later." It was even darker when the 2 of them reached the old abandoned mine shaft. Surprisingly, they found signs that the place had been worked recently. "Look at this!" the wood-wise Lockwood exclaimed. "Mule tracks! They've been carrying payloads out of here on pack mules. And from the looks of this path, somebody's had mule trains coming and going for several months. Stay close to me, Gloria." Picture 5. Inside the mine, Lockwood seemed puzzled. "Cam, there's no gold in here." He reported his findings directly to probe control. "Hasn't been in years." "Then what's all the shooting about?" Gloria asked. "I'll tell you in about 2 minutes. Cam, can you pick up my Geiger counter readings back there at control?" "Roger," control replied. "What do you have in mind?" "Uranium," Lockwood said excitedly. "Yes, Mr. Lockwood, uranium." Jen Cure's voice cut into their conversation. "I'm so sorry that you found out about it. You leave us very little choice, Lockwood. We will have to kill you. Now, Mr. Probe Agent, if you please, kindly put your hands behind your head." "You too, Miss Harding," General Chu said politely. Lockwood, seemingly obeying Chu's orders, attacked his captors with both hands, a trick he'd picked up during survival training. Even then, he might have lost the battle. Orientals are very good at karate. It was 2 against 1. However, in the middle of the desperate fight, the ranger guide showed up, gun in hand. "Hold it," he drawled. "The party's over." Picture 6. Retracing their steps back toward the abandoned mine's tunnel opening, Lockwood again contacted probe control. "Cam, can you believe that Geiger reading? There's enough uranium in here to blow up the world." "That, my boy, is exactly what they plan to do." Cam informed his agent. "Let me tell you the whole story." Picture 7. Mr. Q, as you have guessed, was smuggling the stuff out of the country. His Eurasian Jade and Metals Company was a front. Q's son, Richard, was in it up to his ears. But he made mistakes and the firm's accountants tipped off his mother, who called us into the case. At that point, Q panicked and sent a radiogram to Southeast Asia. General Chu flew into San Francisco, took over the whole operation and, well, you know the rest, my boy. All's well that ends well. There's nothing like a happy ending, Lockwood assured his boss. By the way, Cam, Gloria and I won't be back on the job for a few days. We're going to paint the town. Swell, Cam replied. Use your own credit card.